What up, world? R.I.C.H coming right back at you. What I'm about to say is not easy to digest, but if you've been paying attention to this Tory Lanez case, then you know nothing about it has been easy. Tory Lanez just survived a brutal prison stabbing, and I don't mean a scratch. I don't mean a scuffle. I'm talking about 14 wounds to his back, to his torso, to the side of his face, and the back of his head. A 42-year-old convicted killer named Santino Casio, and he's already doing life for murder. So when I heard about this, I ain't thinking a prison fight. I'm thinking an assassination attempt. And to be quite honest, Tory Lanez is lucky to be alive. I don't say that lightly. I don't say it as hype. I say it as fact. Because when you get stabbed that many times by a lifer with nothing to lose, you were not supposed to wake up. But he did. And now the conversation has shifted. Because just days after this man almost lost his life, a legal team came forward. Lawyers, activists, journalists, family members, all united under one message. Tory Lanez never fired that gun. And if you think this is just another free Tory campaign,
think again.
Lawyers for rapper Tory Lanez update his condition after he was stabbed in prison, and they claim they have new evidence in his case that could set him free. You're watching Eyewitness News at 11:30. We're live on ABC 7, Hulu, and wherever you stream. I'm Philip Palmer.
And I'm Colleen Sullivan. Rapper Tory Lanez recovering after being stabbed 14 times in prison. Today, his legal team provided an update on his condition, but they also talked about what they say is new evidence in the case that landed him behind bars.
Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes is live in the newsroom and has details. Rob.
Yeah, stabbed on Monday. Today, Tory Lanez is in fair condition. His legal team taking advantage of the media's interest in the attack to make a new case for his release, saying a new witness has stepped up who can clear Lanez in that shooting case. Now, Lanez is currently serving a 10-year prison sentence in Tehachapi after shooting Megan Thee Stallion back in the feet back in 2020. Now, Lanez was jumped on Monday as representatives say he was stabbed 14 times, causing both his lungs to collapse, though he is now breathing on his own. Prison officials say his attacker was Santino Casio, a man serving a life sentence for murder who also has a history of prison time violence. The motive for the attack is unknown. Today, the legal team for the Canadian rapper held a news conference in downtown L.A. saying Lanez was railroaded by then DA George Gascon, who had just survived a recall election. And they say a bodyguard for Megan Thee Stallion has come forward saying he heard her say that she fired the weapon, not Lanez.
Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun.
let me tell you what they said. They said the LAPD withheld evidence. They claimed DNA from the gun did not match Tory's. They claimed that Megan's best friend, Kelsey Harris, was actually the one who fired the weapon, and that Tory grabbed her arm to stop it. And when he did, the gun went off twice. They presented statements, they quoted witnesses, they referenced bodyguards, and they even named former DA George Gascon for pushing politics over justice. And listen, I've been black a long time. I've been an American a long time. And I've been watching the LAPD for even longer. So when somebody stands up and says the LAPD withheld crucial evidence,
I'm not shocked.
But I'm still outraged, because if this is true, this ain't just a case of mistaken identity. This is a man doing 10 years for something he did not do. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Did his team do the right thing by holding this press conference? Or should there have been a legal filing first? On one hand, airing it out in public puts pressure on the system. You got people talking, you get the headlines moving, stir up some momentum, but on the other hand, you open yourself up to doubt, to criticism, to the claim that this is about media, not justice. And that's where I'm kind of confused, because I don't know if this was strategically smart. But I do know this. These claims are serious, and they deserve to be heard. Tory's father, Sunstar Peterson, got up and spoke with tears in his eyes. He prayed, he quoted scripture, he begged Governor Gavin Newsom to step in. Listen, I may not agree with everything in this case, but I respect that man's spirit, and I respect any father who stands up for his child. But before we even talk about justice, we got to talk about survival, because Tory Lanez almost didn't make it.
Let's start right there.
This brother was hit 14 times. Back, torso, head, face. A man already fighting for his freedom, now fighting for his life. And the alleged attacker, a convicted killer, Santino Casio, someone who's already serving a life sentence for murder. You think he stabbed Tory to scare him?
Come on, dawg.
No, he thought he finished the job. He was airlifted to Bakersfield Hospital. His father, Sunstar Peterson, thanked the medical staff and he called it a miracle. And you know what? He was right. But right after the stabbing, days later, Tory's legal team, his family, and a group called Unite the People held a press conference. And what they brought to the table? New evidence, new witnesses, and new questions. And they said Mr. Peterson never fired that gun. They're saying the LAPD withheld evidence. They're saying Kelsey Harris shot Megan. That's what they're claiming. I'm not saying he's innocent, and I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm saying if this evidence is real, if these witnesses been knowing this the whole time, why didn't the public know? Why didn't the jury know? They say this witness, a man named Sean Kelly, testified that he saw two women fighting, and Kelsey fired first. They say a bodyguard overheard Kelsey confess to it. They're saying Tory's DNA was not even on a gun clip, and the only DNA tested was his. And if that's true, that changes everything. But here's what I gotta ask.
Why now?
Why bring this to a press conference? Why announce this in front of the whole world instead of taking it straight to the courts? And I'm not saying it's wrong. It just seems risky, because if you make a press conference your courtroom, then the internet becomes the judge. And we all know the internet don't hand out fair trials. And then there's the LAPD. I don't need to remind anybody about their history. Rodney King, Rampart, countless cases of evidence misplaced, civilians mistreated, and stories being rewritten in real time. So when his team says the LAPD withheld evidence, I don't automatically doubt it, because history tells me it's possible. But again, should this have been revealed in a press conference or filed in court? Look, Tory Lanez was convicted to 10 years for shooting Megan Thee Stallion. A jury convicted him and the system spoke. New evidence, new claims, new possibilities. And he almost lost his life in prison. So to me, this is not a celebrity case. This is a test of the system, a test of fairness, test of justice. And if he's innocent, bring him home. But if you're gonna fight for him, fight the right way. Not for views, not for an album, but for the truth. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe, establish Rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.